Rev TV brings the world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
The legendary Holy Book states that many, many months ago, a NASCAR truck lobby was opened with the wrong track, and instead of just resetting the lobby, they decided to go with it and call it a league entirely within itself. Welcome back to coverage of the Beer League on Green Flag TV, where we're bringing the jumpy trucks to a very jumpy track. Whether or not you call this one Chicane City or something else entirely is up to you, but it never stops being amusing. Howie Burrows filling in for Nolan after he got detained by airport security leaving Fuji. We are looking for him. We're going to negotiate the release before the end of the day, but we do have Acinni here, so at least 2 of us made it through on the other side.
Yes, we managed to make our escape from Fuji successfully, and are here at Zolder with the NASCAR trucks. For a pretty, I think it's a pretty interesting one, especially with how flat these track generally is and the lack of downforce on these cars are going to make for some interesting throttle, a lot of throttle control mastery required here.
Well, Zolder is flat until it isn't, as they like to say. Here's our championship standings, by the way. Henry Morse is trying to run away with the under 10 beers world record while being chased by the 20 pluses, 3 behind. He's got a good point advantage with 20, but it's very, very, very close behind running the whole way down. And this is a very unpredictable car this season. We've had normal things, we've had strange things. I love bringing sort of stock cars, and I'm going to count trucks as stock cars today, onto road courses that they have no place on whatsoever. And Zolder is what I would describe as no place. They did practice on Rudskogen, which I was quite excited about the idea for, and we've already broadcasted on this channel today some kind of truck at Rudskogen, but I think this is just as much of a treat.
Absolutely. The Teams Championships also, I think, are starting to get a little more disparate between the Piss Missiles up at the top as well as the rest of them. The second place battle between Chicken Runners and Hot Dogs are still pretty closely contested, especially as we're getting into the closing round. I say closing rounds, back half of the season, I should say. But I think Howie, just to keep you above board, they rotate between the NASCAR trucks, the Pro 2 lights, and then the Formula Vs. So it's been very fun to watch them go between various types of cars and how each driver favors one over the other. It's a very enjoyable experience.
I mean, that certainly is somewhere to go from the NASCAR trucks. I'm a big fan of the pro jumpy trucks, but the Vs are certainly a bit of a wild card to throw into there. You can explain this one for me.
The combined pace is the number of kegs of beer that they have gone through over the course of this season. For this season, they've so far gone through 2.59 kegs of beer throughout the 6 races we've had for the first half of the season. I believe we're on pace to be about where we were at the end of season 12. We'll have to see as we get into the back half here. Qualifying, I believe, is underway, Howie.
Makes me the wrong person to be covering this league entirely. I'm still not an alcohol drinker even after my first go, but I do have the Monster because it's 2 in the morning and you know, even though this race might keep me awake, I need to provide all my energy. I need to bring my best here. As I mentioned, this track's sort of flat until it isn't, and by that I mean you want to take as many of those chicanes as you can, and some of them will send you on a bit of an airborne vacation if you make a mistake. And my personal theory behind the circuit is that they really did just take a real racetrack and stuck 3 chicanes in the middle of it. Well, like, that seems good to me. I'd love a version where I could just straight line them. but it means we get some lovely jumps and hops, and these things are not really meant to do much other than turn left, which is why they're such a joy to bring around.
Absolutely. Watching cars that usually go left also turn right, I think is one of my favorite things, especially if we get an onboard lap here with Jake Kasich, who's looking to set a flyer down. 4 gears to work through. They use both, pretty much all of them throughout many points of this track, and it is a lot of throttle control throughout the opening sector as they get through the first couple corners.
Those solar panels on the right-hand side, very good for the environment, but not too good for the iRacing default camera pack, which gets blinded by them. Neither is running over the kitty litter. Somebody might have displaced her to sabotage the qualifying lap. Here comes your first fun chicane. This is the ones you might just jump a fair bit. Kind of want a straight line that as hard as you can. Head through the road to Aperitivo, try not to lose the entire weight of the car out from underneath you, and try not to get a slow down penalty. Crossing the green margin here, that is a slow down penalty. So that's how you do it. Good for Jake Kasich to show it to us there. We're not quite done with the chicanes, unfortunately, but we do have a little bit of up and down. It's actually less flat than you think it than you initially think when you actually get up the track. As we all know, this is the natural home of the Belgian Grand Prix, and I'm looking forward to Formula One moving here in a couple of years. That right-hander is one of your only true passing zones around there. You can send big dive bombs into there. Call it the home of BTM, touring cars. Now GT3s that love getting tangled up on those things. We're taking the full chicane on the way out and not the funny abbreviated sweeper. 2 more bumps on your way out. That is not a real qualifying lap, Jake. You're going to have to try again, but that is still a lap of the track.
Oh, yes, it is. And he'll have to give it another shot here, which I think he has plenty of time to do so. He has at least 8 minutes still remaining on the clock as we see some more flyers and drivers looking to get a lap down.
I just wanted to comment on the iRacing camera pack because as someone that produces quite often, we're not running that, we're running someone else today. But the iRacing camera pack was made for an ancient version of Zolder before they finally uncovered the world of what a well-modeled building was. So the TV1 gets literally blocked by a giant building across the start-finish straight. If you want to watch the start of the race, no problem. You work out which camera to switch it to. You go, okay, I'm going to do TV3, it's wide, and then suddenly the solar panel gets in the way. I actually had to commission someone myself to make cameras for this track because I needed it, because there was something that iRacing just refused to do on that day. It is a nice looking remodel though around here. Open qualifying as ever, 7 minutes, lots of hot lapping.
Yes, lots of hot lapping. Alexander Buehler currently at the top of the timing towers, back to Wheat, trying to get lap in and making friends with the gravel traps. Here, themselves just gonna J turn it backwards J turn. I don't know.
I mean, like, I have sympathy. I don't do the road course weeks, so who am I to judge anyone else? Like, you know, I know no one does the road course weeks because they've ruined my IndyCar series instead when they're at the road course weeks. But, you know, I've tried it every once in a while. Chicago is a track that sometimes calls to me. It calls to my soul, calls the void. And then, like, turn one, I'm like, nope, I did not steer that thing one bit. And don't even think about getting on the power either, let me tell you that. I do hope they have a road setup set. I will actually check this. Oh, man, it's open setup. I hope drivers have set the setups correctly. I mean, they've done a few weeks of these trucks around there. They can do whatever they want. There are some road setups good for them, and then there's also running them in Daytona trim. Who knows what they'd rather do?
They usually are pretty good about working with teammates as well to get setups dialed in to some extent. So they probably have a pretty good, or at least serviceable setups here for this week, as well as the previous weeks that we've seen these NASCAR trucks out. I also was curious, like, whoever did the chicanes on this, I think also was either hired from or got hired to do Monza chicanes. So I empathize with them.
Well, I'm on the team of saying all chicanes in motorsport can be ranked on a scale from awful, from like bad to why would you do this? Yeah, and for example, Imola exists just to demonstrate the latter. Like, why would you do any of that? Come on. You know, the cars are probably safe enough nowadays. But some chicanes are good. I'm hearing from a disembodied voice in my ear. I will agree. I love the Charlotte Roval. That's about it. We should really go there every single week in every single car. What if we did a series where we rotated cars around the Charlotte Roval? I'd be staying up 2 a.m. and I'd be on the track and I'd be drinking no beers always. Unfortunately, I think I have the beer spirit. I just don't quite have the. The actual beer itself. But this track, on one hand, I do have this like sick idea of like, what if we could straight line it? Like, what if we made a version? Like, what would the track be like? But there are certain cars where I am on fire on this track. I'm very good at a TCR around here, and that's the sort of car that really rewards you for pushing it quite hard, and I have a lot of fun. So it ends up growing on me in like weird, sick ways, and then I bump into another car I don't like. It's very hit or miss in terms of the cars you take to it, which is why we almost exclusively bring in appropriate cars this season.
Well, I'd say depending on certain tracks and certain cars, usually the Pro 2 lights, we'll see them kind of be a little more relaxed with track limits for the sprint races. So we'll see. I don't think they're going to do that again this week, but for the Pro 2s, and then we saw the...
This iRacing has a hand of justice across the road. It hates you. And
Well,
it goes...
they have ways of solving that.
Just hit clear all every corner.
Exactly.
I once hosted a league on Watkins Glen before they just updated the track limits on Watkins Glen, the cut layouts, so now you can actually go wide in turn 1. But I almost considered telling people, go wide and I'll jam the button. And the only reason I didn't is because I realised they would cut the bus stop if I started hitting the button. So it was just a little bit too much effort. Now we do need to save the wrecking for later, but we're getting a great sign right now as to quite how this is going to feel for the way some of these trucks end up inside each other. Ben, I'm going to need a little bit more help around here. You're definitely a beer league veteran, and we've lost one of them already. The red drivers on the side, I'm sure I'm looking out for something now.
You certainly are. The red drivers over there, I believe, are pro drivers, the pro-am split in terms of, I believe, some of the drivers, just qualifications. They're all, I believe, scored together, if I remember correctly. But it just delineates who is considered pro or the faster drivers versus slower drivers.
The Beer League Pro-Am division, I almost hoped it wasn't, but also that's magical and I love to see it. Wrapping up qualifying, Alexander Brailer currently the fastest. Obviously, open qualifying is such a joy. I do really, really enjoy watching it because like the track speeds up as it really goes on, and actually also a broadcaster could watch it. There are horrors when you're asked to watch a 10 minutes solo qualifying and you think, wow, there's nothing to see around here. Whereas, I mean, I'm feeling it in every truck around here today. This is a brutal place to go. The chicanes are like the one thing that feels like the enemy of these trucks. They don't like being slowed down rapidly, do they?
Yeah, they don't like slowing down, I think, at all. The rapidly, I think, is probably the worst they do. They can manage medium slow. Trying to just jam on the brakes with these cars that have very little in terms of driver aids for when you're not going left. It definitely is not a fun experience if you're not used to it. A lot of these drivers, I think, have a bit of I would maybe quite call it masochistic relationship, but something near it to these cars. So they're loving every moment they have on the track with these ones this season.
The amount of gravel I'm seeing off the racing line, right now is stunning, and we're running solo. Also, big news, Darren Bale disqualified from the session for the grievous crime of doing donuts in the pit lane. So I do hope that's cleared.
Oh, no.
I do hope that's cleared.
I don't think that can be cleared. Oh, no, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, like, I think it's a bit weird. Yeah, I've cleared people's DQs and open practice before, so I know it can be done. Yeah, it's iRacing black flag.
Not
so
manual.
you clear those ones, and then if you remove someone from the session, because I mean, like, truly, I don't know if we can forgive Darren Bay after it's fastest driver for doing donuts in the pit lane. You've got to think about the safety of the other drivers around here. I mean, a lot of drivers are getting flags left, right, and centre.
I think you'll come to learn that safety is very much a suggestion when it comes to end of whatever session they're in moments.
I mean, I did watch Super Formula Light up in Ireland, and I very quickly got the idea that
Yes.
But
You'll remember.
What? These cars can collide, and that's the scary part. The sort of like these cars, unfortunately, actually like the contact. Sprint race about to start. 15 minutes will be on the clock before we head to the hour-long feature. As I've been told, starting grid should be coming on the way. Hopefully. Don't catch the Hoppies, they say around here. Alexander Buelo for the Piss Missile. I can't believe I'd say it with a straight face. Lines up in P1 next to Ron Wolf for the Hot Dognalds. They call him Rognald, but Hot Dogs for a reason. Chris Brights in P3 next to Austin Tucker on the second row. Kyle Blevins lines up next to Darren Bay. I'm going to assume it's that. He's been reinstated. Alex King's in P7 next to Jason Lee. And in P9, it's Justin Hall next to Andy Vasic. I'll give you the rest. I need a break.
All good. Jake Kasich alongside Eric Ronenberg for 10th and 11th. And then 13th and 14th, 11th and 12th. Kerry Barrett, Kyle Smith in 13th and 14th. 15th is going to be Jordan Castro alongside Ryan Murphy. From there, we got Matthew Dupuis, Greg Beckman, Ryan Verhulst, Jordan Babcock, Brooks Clayton, Evan Campbell, Steven Purcell, Ethan Condy, and the Carson Catlin, Henry Morris, Giovanni Romano, Chris Flams, and Ben Williams round out the 29-car grid.
How much experience do we have in standing start in the trucks? Well, this isn't the first time we've hit them up.
Fourth, but sorry, this is the third time out with these. So yes, they'll at least have done it twice before.
Where have the trucks been? Because I can't look at the season schedule currently because they weren't always on trucks.
They were. Gosh, I don't remember exactly where they were earlier this season.
Apparently Darren Bay is correct, by the way, but if you want to annoy him, you can call him Darren Bay. That's
okay. All right. Well, then I'll have learned that I've been saying his name wrong the entire time. We always call him Darren Bay.
It is not an iRacing broadcast if you're not saying the names wrong.
That's true. That's fair.
That's the best experience.
They're all getting ready here.
Oh God, we went to Spa and Interlagos. I'm gonna have to go back and watch how it happened up on Rouge and Radion. That sounds evil. Here our starting grid's lined up. The engines are revving. And we are now green. And some have practiced their standing starts better than others on the start. Oh no, I was looking up front and I didn't look further back. The horrors. Yeah, I was looking at Austin Tucker just flying up the middle of like 3-4 cars right at the front of the grid and thought that was awesome in itself. But it turns out it's actually the starting grid that's the great challenge of the day. 2 nearly 3 wide through the outer bowels of Zolder. These are about the only corners your truck might be under you. That's 64 under attack from the inside by Chris Bright. Thought it maybe make it up. Every time I say that, it doesn't happen. How many trucks could you pile into a chicane, Ben?
Probably less than 29, but up to 29.
That's good to know. We're jumping. We were warned not to go hopping, and that's what happens when you go hopping.
And he keeps that car out of the barrier, thankfully damages off, so he'll just get that car turned right back around, keep it going the right direction. Or Ethan Condy also getting the spun there in that first chicane.
I was told that you're meant to jump in the Pro 2s. That's why there's a difference between them. But,
yes.
I respect it. Although, are these really trucks? That's an internal debate that goes throughout history. Really, they're actually just stock cars with a frame on top, which is very straight. It's the anti-roll bar. It's all in there. We got not going 3 wide into there. The number 1 there. Turn up and around. Henry Morse. That's the grass out there. Up front, we actually have a chase. It's Austin Tucker chasing down at 87B1. I'm going to have to look up the real names of them. Some of mine are wrong.
Yes, Alexander Bueller up front there for taking the lead of the race from the pole position. Off Tucker up to the position there and behind him. Alex King from the back. It's been a heck of a start. The rest of the field pretty compact behind these 3 drivers. Really behind the 2 drivers. Starting off with Alex King. And it's going to be a busy start to the race.
It's a race about survival. We have a replay coming up at the start, but that doesn't tell me exactly which of it we're looking at. Certainly a traffic jam up near the back. One person spins it a bit too far, and it's going to lead to a bit of a catastrophe. Do we red flag the race? No, we red flag for nobody. That was an excellent start, by the way, for one of these cars up front. I'd love to look at that after we look at the horrors one side. I mean, one person fails to get it launched, and this is like your average iRacing. It's like your average iRacing race. Just start, just hit the gas and it ain't quite working. There was one incredible start up the middle, so some people had really practiced their launches in Alex and King. I actually have to look at production feed in order to work out the names, which means I am disciplined and drilled in for once. I mean, the trucks look like they're constantly on ice around here. That's Blevins. Takes the inside into the dive bomb alley. There's one more off the track, but then you sort of have to navigate through that S on the wrong side. Oh, the more I look, the worse it gets. I wouldn't say it's like watching a car crash, but it's actually a car crash, so it's not a...
Not quite. Giovanni Romano getting turned there on the hairpin this time, but now he's see Ron Wolf and Henry Morse there. And into it as they come back around the start finish line. Yeah, these drivers, these trucks don't have near any downforce, and given the fact that there is no banking to plant them through inertia, they are very much on ice. And like I said, throttle control is the name of the game for a lot of these corners in the opening sectors to keep it going the right direction. And Morris trying to get around and successfully plant that flag of passing. He's finished making friends with the grass and the hairpin.
If the Beer League randomizer is listening to me, then I suggest we take any NASCAR vehicle to Thruxton. I want to see the Gen 4 around there. But I mean, can you imagine what anything with enough power would do around there? I think it would be a special kind of magic trying to get around that place. But this has felt a little bit like what that would be like. I'm amazed at the lack of grip. Evan Campbell, backwards, but I think a lot of people are going to be backwards, and I don't think I could hate Arnold Sir today for missing any of them. And not just because he's in a, not just because he's doing it, but because it's hard around here. It is an eternal cavalcade of spinning and wrecking. One of Henry Morse finally going to make a pass. It's well executed in there. That's really your passing opportunity around here. Outbreak someone in today without locking them up, and that might be what you get.
You might get lucky in a couple of chicanes as well, given how slow these cars take them. But it's, like you said, the hairpin is really one good place to do it. You last on the brakes, have the right line, and power through. As Kyle Smith trying to fend off, I think, a few drivers at this point. Ron Wolf getting around him as he drifts on back. Oh, runner making a force it too wide with Ron Wolf through the corner. Ryan Verhulst.
That is safely joining. That was Ryan Verhulst almost. He looked like he was virtually across the whole track. And it does feel like the gravel everywhere is like, it's like a trick and a challenge, you know? Oh, this track wasn't slippery enough. Oil slip. Mario Kart stuff. We're not even doing the Mario Kart paint assist. He got a little bit of help that time, turning around by default.
Yeah, Jeremy Castro, unfortunately, there helping Ryan Verhulst as he gets that car going back in the right direction. The field making expeditious use. I feel like the fast lap times I was seeing in practice as well as quality did make judicious use of the curbing in that first chicane. So definitely one there, it's one of those calculated risks you have to take and then really hope you don't get it wrong and your car goes spinning as a result of the hop.
I mean, why are we going hopping? The league admin specifically told us not to go hopping, and they didn't listen. And that's where it leads to. I've seen some cars that do not like going up in the air on this track. And trust me, I mean, I've seen FF1600s try and take those. You take on those curves wrong, it's all over. 4-car train up here, led by the 4. I have to do like my name cross-referencing. I have to get out the dictionary. It's Jeremy Castro leading this chain. The battle for 13th, it is ever glamorous. This is what it's all about. Ron Wolf, Kyle Smith, and Ryan Murphy behind in tow. And I saw Ron think about it. That's almost a big send. Sort of not completely committed. You can use the outside green curving though. On the outside, there's momentum out there. There's momentum out there. And the outside does actually pay off.
Yeah, especially when you're applying the pressure on the driver on the inside with how much little downforce there is. They have to sacrifice a little bit of speed to keep that car from making friends with the doors. Also trying to keep out of the gravel, which will just cause the car to spin with those racing slicks. Whew.
Racing slicks usually are intended to race around racetracks. I mean, they have remarkable grip from oval, so maybe we have just decided to tune these orders I would actually consider doing the sprint in Daytona second. Okay, that's my game on it. Another replay on the books. We can't possibly catch everything that happens to all of you, unfortunately. Do not tell ourselves later. You guys are doing too much. Kyle Blevins very much overcooked. I'm surprised that the curve is so slippery, but you tap that brake 10% too hard and it locks all the way up into the shadow realm, and back you go.
Kyle Blevins just getting locked up there. Right along board, I believe, man, with Greg Beckman at the moment in this battle for 19th. Eric Ronenberg swings around, coming out of the hairpin. I'd say either into or out of the hairpin is a good passing opportunity, especially if you get on the throttle better than the car in front of you. You have plenty of opportunity here, but then you get the draft going down the start-finish stretch.
My favorite thing in all of racing, draft mastering and Zolder. Oh, I live for it. Corey Barrett, yet another car that's around. I mean, these are all being caught absolutely excellently, actually, for a race that's so chaotic. I feel like every time I see it advance, it's coming up. And if I don't, then what are the donut numbers on the O2? I'm learning things about the designs all year. Of course, they love their design competitions. I remember coming across some great team themes. We don't have Mario Kart this year, so I'm less impressed. But I'm going to have to work out my favourite. Side by side, run down the hill and a nice pass and a nice clear. I guess you can get passes done because if you're bad on a corner exit here, you know, you will get eaten up. You will get eaten up.
Certainly will. Talk about it in the hairpin. It's true of the rest of the track, though. That throttle control to allow those for smooth and quick exits is going to be what either pays off or causes some time here. Right along with Chris Bright towards the end of the lap as he's chasing down both Acinni and Jake Kasich, if I have it right.
We give a few important instructions going in. Of course, I dropped into the server about half an hour before I was told by an anonymous patron who I will not name to remind people that, quote, Gio is a slow driver, Bigfoot is a very real apex predator. I won't do the next one, I'm afraid. We're not on the topic of mums today. And Ryan Villas is the cleanest driver. And also Hale Satid, which is one I do remember. Now, remember, none of those are my words. They're the words of my mysterious patron who demands that I say these things live on the broadcast. And there's no way I am being set up for anything. This is the most serious league in all of iRacing. This is a real chase for P3. Alex Kasich for that podium on the sprint. Alex King, Chris Bright just behind. There's nothing like seeing a car with piss pistols all the way down the side. That's got to bring some pair, but it doesn't matter too much for us around here. Do have a heat race. Every car's going to make it through. We invert the top 12.
Yes.
And of course, we're going to have the whoever won to us code 69 second car just in case things get a little bit too strung out. Every car's been moved around in a blender except for our leader, Alexander Weller, who's just run away for 8 seconds, almost like he practiced this, which, you know, that's fair. I guess if you want to win the beer league by a massive domination, you can. That's legal.
I believe Alexander Mueller did, in fact, put in for this, one of the many drivers to put in for this car alongside a handful of others. Each of the winning teams, I believe the rest of the year, got to choose a car, if I remember correctly, for this season, since it's more of a silly season.
I mean, I love it. I love it. Right? Like, you can sort of go like, hey, we're gonna do like a serious car, but we're gonna be a bit funny about it, or you could just go like, send everything at chicanes violently. Any of the 3 cars would have just been very, very unusual around here, and there's a lot of joy in that. You know, I love seeing the unorthodox combinations. Almost saw a little bit of a bump and run from Alex King. Does he know something from stock car racing the rest of us don't? Managed to get up on the inside. Not at all cleared now, and now side by side into the chicane. This could end a few ways. It's going to end through Chris Bright doing the bright thing of backing out.
Chris Bright being very sensible there and deciding not to force the issue. Let it work itself out. A little further back in the order, Corey Barrett, I think, getting around Kyle Blevins after Blevins had a bit of a spin last lap. And now Kyle Blevins trying to get right back past him. He's able to do so through stellar driving out of the first chicane.
It was the classic, that's going to get you a slow down line from Alex King. That forced to slow down and gave up that P4. I think Jake might be running away with that P3 though. We might lock in our podium. We may have another 2 laps around here if the time continues going forwards at the same rate it has throughout my entire life. And what a runaway it's been by Alexander Boyer, the fastest lap as well on the board. So he's pretty much locked in, and is now not going to be allowed to start for P1 and might get caught up in the whirlwind. Would love to see something trying to catch up on the rest of the field though. In terms of great movers, Jake Kasich though starts at 11th, proved it can be done, and Henry Morse from 25th. All the way up to the top. Started from the bottom, made it through a few wrecks. Now you're here.
Yeah, usually, if I remember correctly, Henry Morse, a fan of not qualifying. I'm looking to see how far he can get up the order over the course of a race.
And apparently, very, very, very far. Henry Morse is looking for another. Outside of the next chicane, it's never the easiest place to do it. And I feel like you'd have to send with such a ferocity that you might get yourself banned for it. But that was not contact on the exit. That was Hall losing it by himself on the exit. And he's going to get swamped now, losing all those places back. Every turn, a new story around here.
It is, I think, part and parcel for Beer League and the craziness that often goes on as Justin Hall dropped into the kind of 5-car fight we have for the final remaining spots on the transfer window. Heck of a race will take down in the last lap for them. Big lockup. Jason Lee in the hairpin.
It's always a lockup somewhere in the world, no matter where you look. And I do not blame them. Every time I see a car threatening to go 3 wide down the straight here under the Coke Zero banner, right while it's here, I hear they say, then I get a little bit scared because you know that ain't going to end well. Maybe we're saving some of that chicanery for the full race, but we're on the final lap. Alexander Boyer is going to take the easiest run we've seen in a very, very long time. We have to start further back in order to try and make up for some of that. Henry Morse, our biggest gainer, as mentioned before, 25th to now. Don't give you the one for nothing around here. But this is very much a race, and very much a feature race here about not racing too hard. I think it's about staying in your lane, and it's going to have to navigate your way around people and just try and make it all the way to the end, because an hour is going to beat people up silly and senseless. We're not done with our attempts to pass. Big send up the inside from the 248. Great name. Some great numbers around there, keeping me surprised. Nicely, cleanly done, because clean racing is remarkably possible, but that's a slide on entry. Maybe a little bit of slip is good. Everybody running over those lovely little rumble strips. Someone's tactically made sure to put down as much gravel as they can the last lap. A sick drift from the 87. Don't kill it now, Alexander Boyer. It's almost 12 seconds the domination. We have more battles kicking up right as I speak.
Yeah, Chris Bright and Jake Kasich. Chris Bright gonna have to abandon the final chicane. Which may cost him P3 here. Jake Kasich soaring by before they hit the checkered flags. Make sure that slowdown has bled off. A whole train of cars coming up from the transfer spot. Oh my gosh, 500s between Justin Hall and Ron Wolf. Oh, yes.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it, I think. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Send them into orbit. Why not? It's called esports, Mum. You wouldn't understand, okay? Sorry, I just had a bit of a disruption there. Not sure what that's all about. We can't find a jump here, but we sure can find the greatest gravel pit in history. And I expect nothing more out of these drivers. It was a fun and chaotic sprint. We're going to reverse some drivers. We're going to get back to the rest of it very, very soon.
Pat, we certainly will. The last of our drivers coming home to take the checkered flag. Carson Catling will be our last driver on track there to join the usual turn 1 pileup in the post-race festivities for here at the Beer League.
Here's our sprint results at Zolder. Whaler takes a dominating win over Austin Tucker in P2, Jake K6 in P3, Chris Bright in 4th, and Henry Morse in 5th. Next, it must be the AMs at the ones that run colour. I'm just going to assume that one. Meaning our first AM, Alex King, is our P6 ahead of Darren Bay, Jason Lee, Kyle Blevins, and Justin Hall. Don't know if we're seeing the rest of them. That's up to someone that's out of my hands. So I might just wrap that one up there and say, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back on the other side. Plenty more where that came from.
Rev TV brings the world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Okay.
Welcome back. More trucks, more Zolder, more fun, more jumping, more spinning. Hopefully more cars making it off the start line. We are just seconds away from the feature race here at the Beer League. Howie Burrows with Fen Acinni as ever. Neither of us got lost in the downtime, which is great because that first race was quite a joy.
It certainly was, and I'm thrilled that we weren't called in for further questioning. Unfortunately, like Nolan, who is still trapped in TSA. As we watch,
Which is very unusual for the TSA to get him, given that he travelled from Japan to his home country of Canada. So someone has overstepped their jurisdiction, but I'll leave that for them to decide.
Certainly. But we're getting ready for main event here in just a moment's time.
And that means we have another wonderful starting grid for an hour of racing. Reverse the top 12, so Corey Barrett will start on pole next to Ron Wolf. Then it's Justin Hall and Kyle Blevins in 3 and 4. Jason Lee's in 5th next to Darren Bay in 6th. Then of Alex King and Henry Morse in the 1 truck. Chris Bright and Jake Kasich make up 9 and 10. I'll go to 16 just to throw you off your game. Austin Tucker next to our dominating winner, Alexander Buena. Jeremy Castro is next to Andy Vashik. And Ryan Murphy is next to Mato Dupis. That's not how you say it.
Matthew Dupuis. Greg Beckman is going to be alongside Eric Roggenberg for 17th and 18th. Brooks Clayton alongside Evan Campbell to round out the top 20. Ryan Verhulst alongside Stephen Purcell, Jordan Babcock, Kyle Smith, Carson Callan, Giovanni Romano, Ethan Condi, Chris Flams, and Ben Williams round out the 29-car grid for the feature.
I could never commentate this league ever again after that one. Wow. It was so obvious. It was right in front of me. Dupuis, yeah? Like, I've seen that name before.
Usually we're pretty good with the
I've seen that name
here.
before. And I'm not even North American, so we can't do that joke.
I don't know.
I'm out of here. They are going to ping me about that after the show and be like, look at that.
It's entirely possible.
I got pinged because in the last race I covered, I tried to state that damage was off, and I said it in such a way that it made me sound confused. And that made me a meme. So if that makes me a meme, anything could happen.
I'm pretty sure they have my face on some of their helmets still, so don't worry. We're both memes.
That's a high honor. I think we're starting. 2 drivers, a couple of drivers not quite making it. We have P8 and P12 starting from the pit lane. They want to avoid what they saw on the start. Everyone else gets going. Do we get going in a straight line? Hallelujah! It's a Christmas miracle at this time of year.
We certainly do, but can we get through turn number 1? Looks good so far. Got a little bit of door banging, but nobody spun around backwards. For those drivers that started from the pit lane, that's a usual thing for Henry Morse and Alexander Bueller, so don't expect them to take the grid in the future event. We'll catch up. They'll catch up the rest of the backseat.
I mean, one of them was fast enough. We might as well just say he's going to make it in an hour, and that's about it. Now, my knowledge of the rules from last time is we do have the Code 69 safety car due at some point today, but maybe they've changed that whole underneath me as well. Kyle Blevins running away right now. There's every truck. They definitely learned how to handle this within the 5 minutes they used to not practice. There's 1 or 2 drivers off. I just saw Greg Beckman just kind of go in the grass on the back. But other than that, this looks like the NASCAR Truck Series over it.
Or the NASCAR Euro Series, which also exists. Jeremy Castro.
I mean, like, we're getting that in iRacing in my lifetime, I think. I visit them at Brands Hatch every year. They are a lot of fun.
They certainly are. Jeremy Castro and Matthew Dupuis. Speaking of Matthew Dupuis, find themselves around outside of the second chicane in the fun bit of elevation we get here as they come down under the Coke Zero ban. Coke Zero, excuse me. Final chicane for the first time.
We just called it that, and that's great. It's a bit like as a corner on Ocean Lane called McDonald's. It's like, that is how it should be. There's a corner called McDonald's, and you shouldn't question it. First lap done on the books. We should be 39 around here. By our maths, that could definitely means a pit stop. It almost always is. We have 56% on the field. It could mean 2 if we're feeling crazy and freaky. Here comes the Destruction Derby. It's beginning for the first time there. We're going to have to call out to get back. Get sent.
Hey, man,
Did you ever watch the F1 movie? That's what they did in the final scene. Right?
Yeah, it definitely looks like what they did in the final scene. Frustrating to accidentally take out your teammate in the process, though, as we get this chicane once more. A whole host of cars right behind Ron Wolf as Kyle Blevins takes it early.
Seems as if we get clean air in, we just run away because Blevins wasn't the one to do this last time. He's just simply decided, I've had enough of the silliness around here. I mean, that last lap, obviously first one around the track, 3 seconds faster than anybody else. Sort of the benefit of not getting caught up in other people's stuff. Would love to see how these laps sort of develop in time, because he's obviously not another 3 seconds down the road, so he's probably within that bubble. But getting that jump and getting that advantage, especially because standing starts are very, very, very hard on this in this track. If you get a good one, you're flying. I think they can make all of the difference, and that first lap means you just have less to worry about. I anticipate we get lap traffic at some point today. I think with the amount of unusual shenanigans that are going on, it's almost impossible that we don't, and you will see the rare NASCAR blue flag, which I'm sure these drivers will treat with the utmost of respect and dignity, as our Lord and Saviour, the FIA, tell us to every single day. Nice passes through the final chicane and a couple off track in the back, but certainly have a better sense of order right now. It might slowly get out of control, but there might be more gravel on the track soon, but for now, we hold out.
We certainly do. Chris Flams leading this group of cars. Henry Morris already up a good number of positions from where he started to find his way in this battle. And it's one of those things where it's always fun to watch the drivers kind of develop the racing strategy over the course of an evening and see how they improve their lap times. I'm still trying to figure out if we're going to get back down to the 133s we saw both in qualifying and I saw in practice out of a few drivers. We're only in the 135s, but these cars are heavy, full of fuel, so we'll expect that to improve as the race goes on.
Battle for Ted, Bassett and Romano. We just have to pick a battle. I think Cyber or not, we're going to stick with it. Romano's got pace and he's going to have the good line heading into the ever so important corner that I'll look up the name of when I'm done talking. Up ahead, there are trucks going sideways and backwards, so they better make their way around. Thankfully, he did not move, and that battle gets undone by a little bit of the loud pedal.
That does Darren by, as well as I believe was Evan Campbell.
So, well, some of these names are great. I mean, we have Steren Washboss, Kanalbach, Jackie X chicane at the end. I'm just going to call it that. And my favourite, the Boulderberg Haarspeltboch. That's one word.
Yes. Good corner names. Definitely very easy for American speakers to really dial in on. I feel like Australia have a little bit more ability there.
I lived in Germany for 6 months and I didn't learn any of the language at all, but I do know how to make the R sound, which was like the only skill you really need. And also I know what I mean, German, Belgium, what's the difference, really? I don't think there is one. Austin Tucker eats a penalty, which is unusual. I imagine drivers will get penalties if they're not serving slowdowns. That seems about, I mean, we don't have an instant limit because imagine that. I've not seen it given out manually. Yeah, it would have been the slowdown because they are everywhere and they'll bite you around here.
As soon as you overstep one of those chicanes, iRacing is pretty quick to throw the furl black flag, which is the sign that you need to give up a little bit of time because they think you stole some. So it goes deep into the hairpin.
You ever cut a corner in iRacing spot because they say you cut the course? Ever thought about who they are? I don't know. I thought about it since I started this sim years ago.
I don't. I just assume it's the generalized term the spotter gives me for all of the pseudo bot officials that also are busy staring at every inch of the off tracks for Circuit of the Americas.
I mean, you got your wishes with the new NASCAR layout of Circuit of the Americas and iRacing. Just the NASCAR layout. They do the NASCAR track limits, which is beautiful. I mean, they won't give us anything kind anywhere else, but same for Watkins Glen on the Cup layout. Here's Carl Smith. We're watching this, hopefully, because something happens. And that is the something down and around. So much of this happening under people's own power, unfortunately. So easy to get into a rhythm in these cars and then get kicked out by the rear. And if I know my overall car's ladder's entire temperature, it gets so sensitive on these things.
Yeah, it's certainly sensitive, as well as so much power, so little downforce to keep it planted. So if you're not careful with how you apply it, Giovanni Romano, since dispatching of Andy Vasic, finds himself right behind Jake Kasich to try to keep working his way up the corner.
Any position you gain now, it's going to help you for a while. I didn't notice, by the way, Corey Bassett's done nothing but gone backwards, our lead driver, all the way back in 23rd. More like no man's land. And it was just a series of horrible moment after horrible moment. You couldn't capture it all. It would be a Shakespearean tragedy. It would move audiences to tears. So we best not think too much about that one. Obviously, pit stop will be expecting something more today, and I understand we've got a message saying Code 69 does exist. So we don't know much more about that. What a great name! It's like they don't like us being monetized.
Well, we've worked it to be kinder. Oh, heck of a rejoin there from Ryan Cronenberg.
There's an award somewhere for rejoining directly in the path of another truck like that, and he's slowing down in penance for it. I almost would like to see what damage on looks like with these things.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
give him a bit of a bumping and a bruising. I understand for Formula cars you've got to like let it loose, but like, can you imagine? A lovely little bit of hopping over the curb, exactly as whoever designed this track intended. Flying down that hill is very easy to get weightless and really not fly into the other truck. Not having brake lights doesn't help. You see, I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but trucks don't need headlights because the track is always lit. It's called the sun. Giovanni Romano, P7, he's done some chasing down already. He is being quite fast from that back of the grid start. Maybe he wants to make the last and first very real, but that inside line is the right place to defend going into that all-important corner. Yes, that's the one with the awesome name. So, you know, don't ask me to remember it on the back of my head. Saves it for now. More off the track, more just trying to recover. I need to look at the incident counts when we're done.
Oh, it'll be a high number. I can assure you that. Ryan Verhol's finding his way outside. This battle for what is essentially 12th has worked. Cronenberg finds himself spun around once again. This time I think he had a little bit of help instead of his own doing. I can turn one last lap.
I mean, at the same time, can you really like celebrate gaining positions and being in a good place? Because I would like throw my wheel at the monitor if I spun at the end of a 15-minute run. Yeah, like it wouldn't live. But I'm telling you right now that it would hurt. It would break my heart, and it's happening a lot to a lot of people. So really, like, you want to hold up these top 6 positions, better be consistent every single lap.
Some of them more consistent with than others. You also have to remember this is really people do digitally drink and drive, not going to condone the real life variant of it.
Imagine a broadcaster just saying otherwise. I would say, like, you know, imagine them just going like, yeah, that's a great idea. You should go ahead. No, we're doing a responsible thing here. We're doing the responsible thing, of course, and telling you that you should only even contemplate driving under the influence in iRacing leagues that would tolerate whatever you're doing, such as one named after the drivers. But you almost made me think. I mean, I did have to stick a disclaimer on the standing, so I guess something like that.
This battle still continuing. Brooks Clayton holding up Ryan Verholz, as well as Chris Flams, Ryan Murphy trying to figure out if they can move up the order in this battle. I mean, definitely one of the more pocketed early races. These battles here, a couple further up the order, to try to work his way, and I think we got ourselves first with Code 69 of the evening coming at the end of this lap.
Very, very early to bunch up the field. What a great way to take Kyle Blevins away from them. Probably well out of a pit window. 56% fuel in this car means that you can make it just under half distance. But you don't really want to do it, you know, about 15 minutes in, probably. I think we have another black flag for Jordan Babcock for possibly speeding on the entry pit lane. The drivers have taken it. This is one of those cars without a speed limiter. Do it the hard way.
Yep. The speed limit is a real thing. No speed limiter, like you said. And I don't really know from what I remember of these fuel tanks at 100%, it's not quite an hour's worth of fuel on a good day. So I think we would have seen one anyway. But you're definitely going to see at least one. I think we're going to probably have a splash for all the drivers that start and take their first pit stop now. We see the leaders coming in. We get the feeling we're going to see a lot of the field dive in for their first pit stop of the evening here as we get towards the 15-minute marker. Come up in just a moment.
Beginning at the end of lap 8, and now we're active here. Welcome to the slow zone. It's got double yellow flags in sector 1, which might to me imply that something horrible has happened. No, that's their way of saying it's be slow now, isn't it? Do we have a danger car, or do we just imagine it?
It's just whoever is leading the field is going to be the pace setter. So likely it'll be, but Ron Wolf gonna jump the field there with his fantastic and very quick pit stop. We'll see him take over, leave just ahead of Matthew.
Ryan Verhulst, black flag, another one on entry, not caught properly. It's hard to slow this thing down. I need to check on on the roll bar on my own end, like how hard is it? How brutal is the pit lane entry? Because there are some tracks that are just cruel. And to be honest, there is something kind of cruel about sticking a big fat chicane before the cone. But it does mean that if you made it through the chicane, you should be slowed down enough.
In theory, but people also tend to accelerate back up, and then they may not be paying the most attention when they're trying to get to their box.
Watching back, it's not exactly flagrant. It's not exactly flagrant, that speeding. That is one of those. That's one of those like itchy trigger feet sort of moments where it just goes a little bit over somewhere on entry, but you don't really know the exact spot. It's not like it went flying. Now, my favourite part of the race is when everybody runs really, really, really slowly, and not just because it's a sight to behold, but also because nobody's dying right now, and I'm starting to get worried after that sprint.
Well, it gives everybody a time to get back bunched up, give the battles that happened in the first early spot another run for their money, depending on who has the better pace or who has developed the better pace over the course of this race in these NASCAR trucks.
Now's an important time for a philosophical question.
Certainly.
What's the best NASCAR truck?
I think realistically, they all have the same engine, to my knowledge. So they're all
I don't know, balance of performance is whack, but...
I think the only difference, to my knowledge, of the NASCAR trucks is the stickers they put on the outside to delineate.
You are still loyal to one. You are still loyal to one, and I know it in your heart.
I think I have to go, based on my real life, the real life truck I own, I have to lean the F-150, only because I own an F-250 Super Duty. So
that's a very fair answer that you own it. I am a NASCAR Toyota ride or die because I'm not America, and I have more of a link to those weird JDM cars than I do the American cars, which is crazy because Toyota's such a big deal in NASCAR because they're so integrated in American manufacturing and culture. So I'm thinking about a different Toyota in a different universe entirely than what they actually represent, which is exactly the same Amerislop that everyone else makes.
Amerislop is such a good word. I'm thinking, I think Toyota would be a very close second, specifically for the trucks that we see a lot in the Middle East as ones that are just get run ad nauseum as, work vehicles and other small ones that we don't get here in the Americas anymore. Toyota Helixes, I believe, is the one I'm thinking of specifically.
My mum railed against SUVs for years and years and years. Because in the UK, we don't really need them. We're a tiny country, but they've been creeping in. They've been creeping in over here. She railed against them for years, and then this year, I see her rock up with a Kia EV1, being like, hey there, and I'm like, you can't deny it. Here's another question while we wait. Have you seen what they've done to the Renault Clio? Look it up and try not to throw up. Try not to throw up. Because there's a project at home. There's nothing to see here anyway. I'll let you know when this ends. But when you look at this, remember that Renault Clio Cup, it has to be dead now. Like, it's over. I love that little thing. And now,
I mean,
it's a crossover. The Clio's a crossover now.
It's now a crossover. I also love that they decided to slap an Alpine badge on it.
I haven't seen that. I see the Renault.
I'm looking at the Renault CO UK like splash art one that has like.
Oh, I mean, like don't. Oh no! Don't look up. See, that's still a Clio. Okay, go search because it's like a new concept they're releasing. Look up that bad boy.
Renault Clio concept.
I think it's not like out now, but like they've announced it. So it was the new Clio that was revealed this year. I'm just going to have to put a DM in production track, just like, you know, show you the horrors. I mean, Clio Cup, right? Clio Cup, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a Renault Clio Cup.
They turned the Clio into an SUV. All is lost.
Oh no. Yeah. No, that's the one I was looking at.
Okay, fair. I don't know if they're still selling it yet, but like to me, like
it was just like it was like they have like this launch in 2027.
I think they use Alpine as like a sport brand. We're making double restart lanes, which probably means we're due to restart soon. You to let me know. Do they plan on doing this again? Is there a chance?
There usually is a chance for at least 2.
Oh, what
Largely,
a beauty!
We only see 1. So
we can do philosophy later. That's great. I mean, it's a very early time for one to land. 40 minutes to go. So 69 ending soon, as the bot says in the chat. I don't quite know who gets the restart. We'll be able to tell because the trucks will start going fast. Away we go. Matthew Dupuy, I could say your name correctly. Very curious, by the way. Did not stop at all. Really hoping to get thrown something magical here by the Code 69 bot. He'll be flying down back, and he's already getting past him. Turn on by Ron Wolf. Certainly not one of the fast ones out here, but he's playing on the strategy game, and I like to see it. Kyle Blevins going to try and play the same game up the inside. He seems to just be giving up that best racing line to at every single chance. And he might be under a little bit more pressure, but the duel continues actually, because he gets the inside, and I'm surprised he holds it out. He's going to send every truck you can imagine through the chicane again now. And they should just put a giant Mario Kart ramp there. Dupuy, duck to the inside over Blevins. It's not going to happen. We all make it. A couple of you, I can tell you're about to take a jump. Ain't that beautiful?
So far, been pretty good. Outside of maybe Direct Beckman had a brief moment there, but even that was still a tamer compared to his first run through here. The second chicane, though, more rowdy, but staying pretty zippered up.
It starts like this. It starts like this. I wonder. Up for a P1, by the way. A bit of a mistake for our leader. Misses the brakes, and it was not quite a disaster. It wasn't quite a lock-up. It was just mini lock-up, and it was just a driver that wanted it more dived up the inside and took it off the back of that one mistake. Field now filters through. They do actually send the, I don't know if you mentioned the Euro NASCAR, they do actually send it here, don't they?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's why you mentioned it.
Yes.
I mean, those are some weird cars, let me tell you that.
Yes.
They are nothing quite like a stock car you've ever seen before.
No.
They were announced for iRacing, they seem to miss every single dev update. So, you know, maybe once in my lifetime. Bit of a move up the inside for the 7 on the 71. I must say, if you want me to rate the paint, I do love the donut house. They're good, and I rate them. Someone moving quite slow off the line now on the inside. I mean, the Queen is dropping. Whilst that time wasn't valid, I wonder if he had a brutal slowdown.
I think so. Especially coming out of the final chicane, which is why he has fallen so far down the order. The rest of the field looking to see if they can capitalize in the meantime. That's been pretty calm.
And now if he doesn't get that code 69, like, it gets worse. So you have to make a green flag pit stop. Might as well lose laps. I mean,
well, think he's banking on actually maybe running green until the end and trying to get one stopper done.
That's very true, because you save a lot of fuel, so you could, you know, get it done. And then that benefits, because there's no way anyone else can make it to the end. You know what? It's too late for me. It's too late even with the monster for me to do the math. So I'm glad we have people that live in the North American time zone and are definitely more aware than me of what's going on in the racing.
Too wide.
It is a tricky chicane move. The moves are getting better and better as the race goes on. Drivers are getting more and more in their head. I think the sprint was just an opportunity for them to get it out of their system. I say as there are mistakes in the back. Happy that lacks attack for all of us. In general, people have been respecting each other's space and whatnot. Let's look at this replay though. How it happened.
See here, he locks up the brakes trying to avoid running into Evan Campbell. Ends up bumping into
tip for Nolan, who is actually producing. I'm sorry I lied to you. Why don't we get like the wee bowling strike like thing and just stick it on the screen at some point? I don't know, I'd do it. Because that was almost a perfect bowling strike, and that's one more violently off the track. Don't rejoin like that by accident, because good 360 gets it back together again. That'll keep his combo up, so it's very important to keep those moves going. We're still bumping each other, bumping and running all over the chicane. 703 just completely cuts one on the inside as a result. Just overshoots, taken too hard. We just ended up back up here. I felt like he dropped like way more than this.
No, he's found himself right where I think he expected to be. Henry Morris is making up a lot of time now that he is clear of Justin Hall. I get the feeling we'll see Henry Morris work his way onto the podium if he gets lucky enough over the next. Oh my gosh, look at all these trucks coming down under the Coca-Cola Zero banner.
This is one of the few corners we can pronounce. We still know it's a Coca-Cola Zero, and for that, it's their fault. Because it's Jackie X, right? That's a name.
Yeah,
we can do that. Yeah. But it's Coca-Cola Zero.
Hmm?
I get you.
Easily identifiable sign. So
yeah, it's like that turn is the road to Aperitivo, which I mean, because it's a big road and it's quite a dramatic name. And it also, when you see that sign, you have to remember to get on the brakes very, very, very soon. So it's a good reminder that your road to Aperitivo might end soon.
Brooks Clayton, Chris Flams trading back and forth. One of the few good battles out here on track amongst this trade of cars coming down the backstretch. I am interested to see if Chris Flams has the move to make on Brooks Clayton coming up here soon. He's made the look. That is a very loose car coming up the hill.
The power of satin has compelled him to get that car loose over that hill. The weightlessness as you get this thing up and over the hills. You'd think these things are big and heavy, and well, there is an extent to which they're big and heavy for sure, but they don't have the aero to really enjoy going over hills with the power they have. It's an aero versus horsepower thing, isn't it? Like, you can give a car a lot of power if you let it stick to the track, but these things, which was remarkable given just how much aero they seem to have when they fly around some tracks like Michigan, you can just take them almost flat, but around there you have to trim it all out. You're going to be running slowly, you're going to be braking all the time, you're even going to be turning the wrong way, which is a shock horror in itself.
I mean, it's not a shock horror if you're used to driving in the NASCAR Euro Series, which comes to a lot of tracks that go both left and right.
Hey, we've done it again! It's a tie-in. iRacing released my car so that I could try it for 2 weeks and crash out and get really mad at it. That's how that's going to end. I want to try it. I'll buy anything. Lots of fun stuff coming next season, including me trying dirt road for 2 weeks and then crashing out of it. So they have me. And let me tell you, Billy, do it. The cross car. Get it on.
Oh, the cross car. I think they would really love the cross car. I think it'd be
a
unique one to do on non-dirt tracks.
Morse doesn't make it up to the rear of Kasich. I thought there'd be a chance. The pace wasn't there. He had a better exit, but it's still not going to be quite enough as the road to Aperitivo leads to what else is older than another chicane. On the inside, you might cut this too much. That is not an elegant way of doing it, though, unfortunately. And that was, indeed, I looked like contact will spin on my head, and we might see that from above to really work it out. But anything can happen when you send too many cars too close into these turns, let me tell you. I hope we don't get blocked by trees. Even better, we're inside the truck. That helps us see things for sure. It's an accident. It is an incident. We know no one's malicious around here, but it's unfortunate. We tried plenty of trucks through that air, and they can't get away with it.
No, unfortunately not. I think just J.K. trying to take the racing line wasn't quite clear.
Here comes Dupree with the pit strategy. 32 minutes on the dot. He thinks he can make it the rest of the distance or get crazily lucky with the Coast 69 call and get away with cycling to the front again, because that ended brilliantly the first time. Although, to be fair, I mean, he made up good places.
It'll be very interesting, depending on whether or not we get a second one, because if he runs green flag till the end, he'll need a splash based on the pace here.
Could lift the Coast a lot of hard braking around here. I wonder if he can get away with it.
It's not the same as like barely applying throttle throughout the Code 69.
I mean, but I'm just wondering if... Oh, no, because also, oh God, iRacing's auto fuel calculates based on your green flag laps, and we do these under green. Oh God, I've just realised the horrors. More drivers going around that anti-passing this time. Through the grass, taking a nice pirouette. Even the grass gets on the track. There was contact that helped him get there, though. We might get a shot into that.
Yep, you'll see here in a moment Corey Barrett alongside him and just gets a little loose over that curbing. Sends Corey Barrett into passing.
And it kept his combo going with the 360. This is very important. I'm going to milk that joke until it is dry. Let's keep going. Why not? We're halfway through the main event here in the trucks, and it's about as ridiculous as I thought it would have been. Although, let me tell you, Rempel would have been very funny going down and up that hill again. I could not bear to imagine, but I heard it was just instead. I was not exactly disappointed because I knew just about what it would lead to. It hasn't disappointed me one bit at all. Is our 7-track Corey Barrett still trying to chase down Austin Tucker. Quite a few chases happening anyway on the grid. You could sort of pick any of them, and quite frankly, this isn't like a race where you pick the most exciting battle and an amazing pass what happened. You could look anywhere and there's a chance that something explodes.
That is very true. There's a chance everywhere. Jake Kasich trying to defend now from Alexander Bueller, who's found his way up into 9th from starting in pit lane.
I mean, I did think he had ridiculous pace for this point. I did think like that is someone that could just go for the back to the front around here. And the nature of this season, silly, you know, as silly as different as it is, it tests your skills in different departments because all three of those vehicles are so different. You have the crazy bouncy road 2, which I would consider the wild card round. You have the NASCAR trucks, which are challenging car control races. You have the Formula V, which tests how much you could put up with drafting behind people. There's someone that made broadcast twice in the SCCA runoffs a couple of weeks ago on the iRacing channel. I was on the cars on the track twice. I had to do that Formula V now, but it's not actually that fun to drive these at Road America, it turns out. You know, it's not becoming exciting when it's the same every single week. Oh, he's going to get a draft run. He's going to get a draft run. But there are some tracks where like, the V's are unbelievable at. And some where you really wonder what's going on. It's a very, very strange car. I know they were ran in the wet at Fuji, which is only
Yes. It only makes it more wild. And I think these are a fun benefit, I think, of the Formula V's is, you know, it's a rookie car that we've all seen at least once or twice on the iRacing service and in his SCCA runoffs, amongst other places. It's just such a unique and quirky vehicle, especially as a kind of learner car to get into the world of iRacing or in the world of sim racing in general. Super fun, super unique.
It's got the bomb from the Speed movie, except instead of like it being speed related, it's about hitting second gear. You hit second gear, the bomb blows up. Paul there, so wobbly on exit, having executed that pass. I felt as if that was going to end in travesty. Instead, it is one of the sickest moves of the race, and our 9 Brooks plate is just getting eaten up. I wonder if you've got to slow down on the exit of that just to rub it in even further. Gravel's flying everywhere. Don't stand anywhere near if you're in the crowds. I heard inhalation could be dangerous. these chases, they sort of build up and then they become quite explosive. Passing is actually being quite good.
Yeah, they managed to get that done. Justin Hall, Austin Tucker seeming to break clear. Brooks Clayton, Corey Barrett getting stuck behind say his teammate, but it's not his teammate. It's behind Brooks Clayton, who he's going to try to get around, hopefully as fast as possible. Is that the start-finish banner you're talking about?
Which one? Sorry, I looked away for a second, and that's the
never-
one time my attention was needed.
All good.
I'm curious now. Now you've got that.
Well, if we get back to it across the start-finish line, and Nolan hasn't decided not to use that camera anymore because of the reason, I think that's why we've talked about it. There's a banner that covers the start-finish, right?
Oh no, so like
where that camera is.
it's on the
But,
default cam. It's the building
okay.
on the right-hand side of the start finish. The problem is on default cams, cam 1 is right up above a helicopter view from that side. I think like from the left-hand side, which just means all you see is the building from above, which is really strange.
Whatever camera bag we're using tonight also has one that just looks at a banner from the rework of the new art model. So,
They added a lot of
kidding.
stuff. I mean, yeah, that was almost vehicular manslaughter on the
Almost.
Pro
Oh,
Kids day. There's still a little bit going on. Austin Tucker's bouncing around like a pinball on other cars.
Yeah.
Did it again, would you believe it? Can we get a third one?
Jay Kasich getting real loose into the hairpin there, which is why he's so much further down the order after the battle he was having with Alexander Bueller for 6th. Excuse me, 7th.
I just went back and tried to load the default cams, and I'm wondering if they fixed it, which almost breaks my heart. The cams are still terrible because they have incredibly wide angles, but they don't get clipped by stuff everywhere anymore. I paid someone to make better cams around here in iRacing, even took that away from me. I have an old screenshot of it. I must dig it out. It's a joke. It's just like, how did they do it? It was quite close to the links.
I think drivers are starting to get a little more settled in. Only seen a couple of 33s pop out in terms of the best times here, so definitely time to be found for these drivers as they get into what I would say is probably the last 10 or so minutes before they have to make their splash and dash based on when they came in for that first pit stop. I'd say splash and dash probably requires about half a tank's worth of fuel based on the tank, or really quarter of a tank if they're already at half a tank, or half a tank of what they have available to them here tonight.
And hopefully not speed again going into the pit lane, because we saw a little bit of that under people's panic back in the back on the first pit stop run, and that's a quick way to defuse an entire race when you don't even have to take a safety car to slow you down. 23 minutes, here they come. Oh, a lot of the field flying in. I do wonder about Guerrero. I really
home
do.
69 at the end of lap 21. They're going to cut you off, but that's why they're coming in.
I miss even the obvious cues that are thrown my way, because that was all over the chat. We're doing another one, which I thought was reasonably likely to having one early on in the race. So I'm not surprised that the call has happened. And that does set up Bueller interestingly, because does he go for it, or does he, or Dupuis? Why did I say Bueller? Where did that come from? What? I said it twice. Dupuis was the name I was thinking of, and he's coming to pit lane. So,
Well, he's at least got to come in for a splash and dash. Looks like a fuel-only stop.
Black flag. Love to see it.
Yeah, probably for speeding on pit entry.
Our leaders, Romano and Blevins, almost raced the pit lane there. That's the spirit I love seeing. It's very easy to start cast and race someone in the pit lane, because if they're slow, if someone's like chugging under the speed limit, and you just have to sit there and just sit behind them. Because in the many modern cars, the limiter just means that everyone's doing about the same thing. That is a very unfortunate black flag, though. One Wolf P3. Not like this.
No, had a fantastic first stop, very quick, meant to kind of undercut a little bit of the field from where he had come out or come into pit lane. But now he's got to sit there, I guess, think about what he did or didn't do, or watch everybody else sail off into the distance. That's always heartbreaking, especially when it's ones that you're like, I just happen to be over for like the 2 seconds that it requires or whatever, and you're just stuck there having to sit there and feel the sting on the slap of the wrist.
I mean, at the very, very, very least, the Code 69 is sort of tolerant to this more so than others, because you probably don't lose the whole lap and just lap solo for the next 20 minutes. You sort of cycle to the back of a field that's going to get a restart. So that's the one consolation you get, is you still get to race. And in fact, some might enjoy doing it from the back. I mean, like, it's always a bit of a joy, but he did start P2 on the road, so it's going to be a lot. He actually doesn't come out last either. He comes out P14, so, I mean, that's how spread out the field was.
Which is interesting. It's going to make for interesting racing when we get going again here in just a little while.
Just a little while. So, yeah, on the EV3, she shows up a crossover, and I'm just like, you were the one that said no to crossovers. It's nice. I don't know if I said it's the EV one. It's the latest EV one. It's just like it's crossover size. It's not like crush everything in your sight, but it still is a bit disconcerting. Sitting in it, just being a bit like, I am above everything. I'm used to sitting in saloons in the States my whole life. We had like Ford Mondeos and the estate Ford Focus. That's just what we did. And then suddenly you're just sitting miles above the ground in an EV with heavy torque. I've not ridden along too many times, but every time I've done, I've sort of thought, like, that is strange.
Yeah.
That's
definitely,
where we're going in cars now.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting change for me as I come from a Ford Focus into an F-250.
Wow,
Castro
with
works
the
his
whole
way around the
journey.
field. Oh yeah. I decided.
I love the old hatchback. Hatchbacks were the best,
So
and I'm not going to make this an electric cars rant because I actually quite like them. I actually quite like the little buzz. I've been to Formula E races. I was at Monaco this year to watch Formula E. That was crazy stuff. It was very good, by the way. It was like the tickets were like €60, and I was like, I could just do a trip out of that. I could sit on the harbour and watch cars go by at Monaco. Yes, I did. I got the harbour seat. It was beautiful. Yes. And there was a real race. So, like, I'm into it. But the unfortunate consequence has been that cars have gotten really big now. And there's almost no other choice. That's why they ruined the Clio. That is the unfortunate side.
That it is. It is
Although,
always heartbreaking.
I want a Twizy. I really want a Twizy. That thing looks just epic.
Yeah. So it'd definitely be one to I think it'd be very fun to whip around.
Like, yeah, there are a lot of places where it wouldn't work.
Oh,
The problem is all the places that would work probably have enough public transport, like London. That you probably don't want to bring the Twizy around. get congestion charged. But I still just feel like I could run somewhere in this small city with it and probably still be wasting my time, but it would feel amazing because that thing is fun.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly how I feel about the 250. I'm like, oh, this is a great thing that is way larger than it needs to be, but it's so comfortable.
Well, in the Americas, things are actually too far apart for my small brain to comprehend.
That's true.
Like I can't make fun of you guys for that. That's just how it is. That's why you're like that.
Yes. We are like that because we wanted to fuck off into the middle of nowhere. Excuse me, pardon my language. We wanted to heck off in the middle of nowhere.
I heard some very, very, very scared carefulls there from production. It wasn't my fault this time. So, give me the prize of whatever it may be. But we can say that there is a team with piss in the name. Still, because that's what they do to us around here. I quite like the windshield banners because most of them are like in brand beer league. You know, you have one that just says beep beep, And then you have Hail Satin, of course. Which, I mean, I didn't know people had such strong feelings about clothing material, but it can be comfy.
Yeah, they have strong feelings about satin and the products that are made from it. It's been an interesting thing. It's been a staple of beer league regardless of the season.
I mean, I remember that's one of the few things I remember from my dazed and confused run the last time. We're likely going to have a sprint race when we finish this. We don't really get news until the lap's about to end, I believe. But lots of lovely gravel on the outside of that turn, just in case you run a little bit wide. But you're going to, get 15 minutes of running, and what I don't want is for everything to become a catastrophe.
Yeah, well, now that you've said it, it certainly will. That's how it works, right?
Very true. I've already commentator's cursed one race brutally today. You want to hit me up with another?
Yeah, certainly. I feel like
you don't want to see what I did earlier today. It was elsewhere and it was brutal. Okay. I have that curse in my heart. Here, come on, restart lanes. Carl Blevins has been fast since the start, but Romano 26th to 2nd. I am actually feeling raw excitement, not just the sort of fun excitement that you get when beer league is being funny, but the sort of like, this is gonna be an epic chase when it kicks off. Control car, Kyle Blevins, as ever. The truck's lined up. I hope we make it round in one piece. So a traditional truck rolling start. This is almost how it should be, although the standing starts to be a lot of fun. I'm reading the chat to see when I think they announce when it's over, or I don't know whether Blevins just makes that call. Nonetheless, we're going for it. Good launch from Romano. He's predicted it very, very well. Gets a decent line in on that first turn, but doesn't choose to take it. We're actually side by side behind between Morse and Weller. Up 24 places, Romano. Sleeping Castro, black flagged. How do you get a black flag around here that early when you didn't cut the chicane beforehand? I was given out personally by admin, so it might be speed related. Who knows? Do we have an incident limit?
Yes, for penalties at 40x.
40x. I'm checking. It says 0 for penalties here, but maybe that's a thing they do in a bot admin. Probably is. The bot does it, the bot says it. 40x, it's impressive. I'll put it like that. We're trying to beat the record, the first car going around backwards as well. Jordan Babcock getting tangled in that. The battle of Blevins running away 7 attempts now over Romano and Morse. Once he gets to a second, we're going to start seeing the runaway window. We promise now no more code 6 it'll never happen again. Not while I live, the window is now closed. Every race here has been defined by the leader, eventually just getting away in clean air. If anyone makes this chase real, though, I bet it's Romano.
I'd say Romano, I think, ran fastest that I've seen here so far in practice. Wasn't able to string it together in qualifying, to my knowledge, but has the pace. It has a faster lap than Kyle Blevins, especially to apply that pressure in the closing stages here. And I get the feeling Giovanni Romano, very consistent driver. I get the feeling we'll watch this go down to the end. Speaking of that, Alex King losing out to Chris Flams after making friends with the gravel.
I have to apologize to Gio because someone set me up to call him a slow driver early on, and I didn't know any better. He is a remarkably fast driver. As I said, it was through a little Alex Coffard. So I'll just name it.
That makes
right
sense.
Now.
Alex Coffard would tell you to say those things. Darren By, unfortunately, finds his way outside.
Although Bigfoot probably is an apex predator on the track, spin in the back before we complete this chase for the lead, and Romano's really in range. He's done this just to spite me, and he could set up this pass any time in the next few laps. I'm not going to count on any lap estimation we see around there because obviously slow down laps change the count considerably, but it's going to be 13 minutes of running to the end, and that's a wide exit for Blevins, and that door wide open for one, maybe two, make it Morse.
Yeah, I think Blevins not wanting to fight Morse as much as their teammates, but one of those things where those drivers, I think, are all gunning for the top spot at this point.
I see 3 whites down the back straight in the background there. The magic in the car in the back there in the green. Austin Trucker almost loses it entirely. The Alpacas can't keep you stuck to the track. Castro still has that black flag into serve. Now, that's a bad time to get a black flag on the just going into the final restart. Blevins, really, I think he might get that P1 back, but there's Tucker as it stands. I saw that like recovery truck in the background and thought someone had wrecked because it's all trucks the whole way down here today. Tucker is close and close and close. This is the sort of battle that might end in contact, though. I mean, it's very scrappy in the middle of the field. That's how they ended up here. Oh, no.
Kyle Smith,
See ya.
right? Yeah, Kyle Smith, unfortunately, finding his way around, catching that gravel, waiting for his car to get fixed, thanks to the lack of damage being on. Austin Tucker really trying to keep the pressure applied as he's gotten around Verhulst.
It's more than just damage not being applied. It's about damage getting repaired magically by the damage repair gods, which is, quite frankly, even cooler. I remember seeing it bring SFL cars back to life, which was a special kind of magic, let me put it like that. But we have the battle for the lead here. Romano holds off Morse for now, sends them running a little bit wide, but this top 3, they're vicious. They're here to give us a show to round off the day. And a show we may get. 11 minutes to go across the line.
Yeah, I believe we will be getting a show from now till the end, because while both Henry Morse and Giovanni Romano setting faster lap times, Henry Morse getting the fastest, all 3 of these drivers within about a tenth of each other in terms of lap times, and therefore still in a battle with each other as they're going back towards the backstretch and the first chicane. Imagine the draft here will be helpful to each of them, as well as Alexander Bueller, who's hanging out in the background.
Ominous. You can hear the Jaws theme from here. 4 drivers in for a chance to take this. You laugh and I laugh back, and that ruins the whole cadence, I'm afraid. That's my fault. I do that to myself. You're allowed to laugh. You're allowed to laugh at home as well now, and I don't hear you laughing at home, which is a problem. I think I was hired just for this exact purpose. This 3-car chase, 1.5 seconds, well, not 1.5, 1 second separates them. Count on the 4 a.m. maths to get me through that. Any one of them could do this. Evans has just been that ominous one in the background, just staring in, and the mistakes have happened, even the minor ones. They're not catastrophes up front, but people have been having little slips and slides, and little slips and slides. I've been recognising this paint on this car and seeing it, and building a Pavlovian response to it, going around in some way or another. It's this debris of lock up ahead. The smoke shows that's Ronenberg.
Ronenberg going in, locking up the brakes, trying to keep that car into the hairpin instead of flying out the far side of it. Brings Eric Ronenberg right back into the fight that he was having, and he's taken a runoff, really cutting the path part of the chicane, so we'll have a slowdown to serve. Ronenberg will.
It has been a roller coaster. It has been a joy. It has been every little part I expected it to be around here. The racing has cleaned up substantially as we go on, which is the thing that I say right before the racing gets weird again. The Puy has been sort of everywhere. He sort of tried to play pit strategy in unique and unusual ways, and how has this ended for him? Exactly at his grid position in P16. So, you know, you've got to play the game sometimes, but unfortunately today was not the day for it to pay off significantly. The 2-4-3 of Tucker there not getting in there one bit, and he's less close on the camera angle, makes it look there in terms of actually getting the pass wrapped up and completed. Still just stuck in that bubble, as I like to call it. That's going to be the mistake that's going to grant him the place. Yes, please put more gravel on the outside of the turn. It's exactly what I want. Force slowdown penalty there for Clayton.
Pushing a little too hard. We talked about it earlier in this race. I think it's showing a lot of these drivers now, because they didn't take 4. Some took 4 tires, though. I think a lot of people took only 2, or a couple doing fuel only. I think these tires are probably going to be a little bit upset with them at this point.
what world would you take 2 only here? That sounds like a recipe for really horrible things to happen
Maybe
here.
I misunderstood that.
I mean, like, I can
agree with
understand the battle between taking tyres and not. You actually lose significant time in these things if you put in enough fuel. But 2 tyres does seem like you're going to be skating on ice around this place. I'd be a little bit scared myself.
Amongst all this, battles still rage.
We'll spread out a little bit. Giovanni Romano is finally locked in and now just gone lap after lap after lap, running away from the field, getting the win that he got in order to prove me wrong. There's a pass from the 119, and he's going to try and get one more down the road. There's another 3-car chase happening just behind. We're spoiled for the choice around here, and again, that's a bit of an overcook on the chicane. Down and out. I mean, we saw someone go overcook it, but that overcooking sent him all the way around. This has been the problem chicane of the track, really. It wasn't the one with the jumps. It's the road to Aperitivo, because you go over it, and all of a sudden you have to go hard on the brakes and go flying. Very often we'll see it, more often than not. I think he could have dropped his combo there, unfortunately, despite the awesome 360. So that's a nasty point penalty. Nasty point penalty.
Okay. Sees Austin Tucker now bothering Alex King in this 4-way fight. Justin Hall at the lead of it for the final top 10 position of 10th.
Every point and every place matters in a season so unpredictable as ever, really causing us headaches by not telling us the track until moments before we're live, doing the same to the drivers, causing them headaches if they haven't bought the track in time. Everything in its proper place, and the car rotation this season means that pretty much you want to get every position you can, because you could get thrown straight into hell next week and straight into somewhere that you refuse to handle well. And this has sure been a funny combo. I still nominate Truckster, but this one's been the next best we could take around here. Paul leading a 4-truck train. You feel like something's going to go wrong when they take the jumps on the inside. Good air time there for 17 at Ronnenberg. That's worth some points on the combo.
I would have to imagine the battle between Ronnenberg and Clayton there, I think it resolved for the briefest of moments. This 4-way fight, I think, has gone nowhere from where we looked at it just a moment ago, especially with Austin Tucker breathing down back for P11.
It's a tangle here, and that's where you're going to lock it up and cause too many problems. That's where all the passes would quite happen. Clayton's sliding on the way out of that turn, by the way, just a little bit behind. That turn is hard. You've got to brake hard, get the car stopped, try and navigate it around, and then put on the power down, the longest excuse for a straight you have here, and suddenly sort of get caught up. Let me tell you this. I think, as a venue for the Belgian Grand Prix, Spa has disappointed in terms of race quality for a good number of years. So what do you say about Zolder, then?
In terms of race quality, I always love the racing I do see at Zolder. I feel like it's a little bit of a simpler track than Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, but I think that's just due to this fact that there is longer. There's more track at Spa than there is at Zolder. I think if Zolder was as long as Spa is, we'd have something maybe more interconnecting pieces before each chicane, and so we'd have
just put them on the track. Just put them there.
more chicanes.
Just put them there.
All right. We just have a.
I mean, no,
ladder.
it would be a nightmare. But I do think we do deserve a beer league style random track choice for F1 every season. You can replace Qatar with it. What we lose in value? Like, come on. Makes you think. Not a good track.
All of the individuals that pour a lot of money into the Qatar Grand Prix would probably be upset about it. But I think those are probably the only people that would be upset about it.
Okay, no, true. Economic interest at play. We replace either Baku, which is the worst, or Imola, which is also the worst. And then we're done. 1 to 2, I mean. We're down.
See, I like it. I'm not saying it's a grid trip. I just think
I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. Wrapping up in the next few laps. Of course, the estimation is
Smith.
wildly off as ever, as that is so backwards that Smith wants to just leave. Which, I mean, might as well before the end. We seem to have misunderstood which lap we're on when it comes to going wildly off in turn 1. We're almost at the end, guys. We can do this together. Door bang going side by side, the 12 and Dupuis. Dupuis going to take. He's always in the middle of something, let me tell you that. Always in the middle of something on this track today. It's a bit of a chaotic day for any car that looks like that.
Matthew Dupuis, Ryan Verhulst getting into it. This battle for 10th, Rose now 11th, and Austin Tucker has cleared these 3. And Gianni, I think, is about to start his final trip around here in just a moment's time. As we get,
I'm going to watch the flag man myself because I know that it has been a cause of trouble. I don't see him standing there at all, which is very concerning because I wonder if he slept on the job. I don't see anyone on my flag stand here. He's just not there.
no, just nobody on the flag stand. Okay. Yeah, let's see.
Maybe the race will never end. Then what?
Well,
Under fire, the 64 of Hall, still a 4-car train. Still a chance for any one of them to slip up and make a horrible mistake. This is a battle for P11 on the road, but call it a battle indeed. Almost sticking out of line there, King. He can't really dive bomb that first turn particularly easy. He actually backs out of it hard. I wonder if there's a slowdown to be served somewhere in there.
I think he just had a slide or two coming through those first couple corners on the tires, and probably a little bit upset at this point.
I think those tyres deserve mercy. That's the thing. It's that, like, that's another thing we've got to point out about these trucks. I'm surprised I didn't all day. I was too busy making bad jokes. Is that tyre wear becomes a significant factor in road races of this length in these trucks. And where there aren't too many other types of vehicles in iRacing over this distance. Those things hate you when you've done this many laps. You've done 33. You might do 34. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on the flagman for that one. But nonetheless, they do hate you when you do. They absolutely hate you. When I'm about to cross the line, I'm not sure if it's the checkered flag or the white flag. He crosses to begin lap 34. Dominant in nature. I think we're going again.
This is the final lap.
We go one more time. That means he must have cut it ridiculously close on the timing as well, because he got that done within seconds of the race running out of time. Oh, the unpredictability around here today. As still just a few more chases. This is Chris Wright on the back of Jason Lee. I'm glad they put their names visibly on the truck, but sometimes I get a little lost. The software doesn't do a great job of separating some of the names, some of the screen names, although it's a bit more organised than last time I was here, I'll be totally honest. I appreciate that. Bit of a slide from Jason up in front, a little bit of a twitch, nothing too significant. Still more an exit. These tyres are beating these trucks up, and everybody's tyres just want to go home as quickly as possible. This will beat them up more than Dover usually does. Wildly off the road there for Jake Kostic ahead. That slowdown's probably going to give up places. Well, why do I even say these things? Maybe even not. Into the trickiest chicane they go, but we have a race winner ready to claim it. Giovanni Romano, I'm so sorry. Do not hold it against me, and definitely do not hold it against my family, who are asleep and have no idea. You're a very fast driver. I was lied to, and you have claimed a spectacular 26th to first win here at Zolder.
Say just behind him, though they're still battling it out. We'll see Henry Morse, Kyle Blevins come home in second and third. Another flying drive for those individuals. Further back in the order, though, this battle for fifth is not yet solved.
You'd think it's solved coming out of the last turn, but anything can happen, and there's been the harbinger of unpredictability around here. Where do we go next? Anywhere but into the other trucks as quickly as you possibly can. One last chance for a bump for the 7 out of the chicane. That is a strange
Oh.
place to do that, but technically it's legal. As long as everybody else can finish the race in one piece. I mean, the trucks won't be in one piece, surely. Or maybe they will, because they do seem to have the best insurance scheme under the sun. More trucks filing across the line now. It's been a stressful day, as is any NASCAR truck day in Beer League, really. I think it's the most stressful of the 3 cars this season by far.
Oh, I don't know. I think they'll have their benefits and drawbacks. I think we've seen some of the best racing out of these NASCAR trucks as well.
Results on the way for this feature race here at Zolder. What a joy it's been, and what a fun time it was to get caught. Craig Beckman gets a black flag by the way over the line. I wonder if that was just not serving or something else. How many drivers caught the Hoppies? Well, Giovanni Romano surely didn't catch enough. He makes a nice 8-second lead over Henry Morse, who holds up Carl Blevins by just a second behind. And Gunnar Puela finishes at P4 ahead of Jake Kosick, Jason Lee, Chris Wright, One Wolf, Austin Tucker, and Chris Flams in P10. I'll leave you with the next.
Certainly Justin Hall coming home in 11th, just ahead of Corey Barrett and Eric Cronenberg, come on 12th, 13th. Alex King, Brooks Clayton round out that top 15. Ryan Verholst, Matthew Dupuis, Darren Bai, Evan Campbell, and Andy Basic gonna round out that top 20. Howie.
Still more to come. 29 entered today. Stefan Purcell finishes 21st ahead of Ryan Murphy, Carson Catlin, Greg Beckham, Jeremy Castro, Kyle Smith, and Jordan Babcock. Lee Condon and Ben Williams may not have taken that start. Not sure, but they get placements.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
It's all over. Got some interviews lined up. Giovanni Romano, a race winner. Sounds like a great place to start. Giovanni, I'm afraid I did take Alex Coppard's dates there in the general chat. And you did it just to prove me wrong. Congratulations. Excellent race from the back.
You listen to Cofford, never listen to Cofford. It's not,
I've
you can't
learned
trust
that one
them.
now. I've learned that one now.
But yeah, it was a good race. Zolder's a fun track, and definitely extremely challenging in this car. All those slow corners, the throttle control was very challenging, but it was fun.
From the back to the front, how much of that was raw passing people on pace? How much was it just being in the right place when people made accidents? How much of it was the pit strategy, do you think?
A lot of it's just not driving off the track, because it's really hard to drive. So a lot of people are just, it's really easy to make self-enforced error, and actually making legitimate passes is very difficult. It was very hard to pass. There's not really many places you can send it down the inside here, because it's so narrow, especially in these big trucks. So kind of just was really patient. And I think the only real strategy thing I did is on the first pit stop, I took 2 tires while some people took 4. So I took I jumped.
I called Fenn stupid for suggesting that.
No, the tire, it had only been about 10 minutes, so the tires hadn't really come off yet. So I jumped a couple people by taking 2, and then on the last stop I just took 4, because at that point the tires had dropped off by about a second, and I think if anyone decided to stay out or decided to just not take tires, would have been a sitting duck on the restart. So yeah, a little bit of strategy. It was interesting.
Well, my deepest apologies to Fenn. He knows a lot more than me. He's around here every week. I should know better. Any other thank yous or shout outs?
Not really. There's just shout out to everyone for a good race. I think Henry, by the way, I think he said he bought the track before the race, so he did really well considering he had just bought it. Learned it really fast. So yeah, thanks.
Good performance, good race. You're not slow. I'll take that, and you are fast, and that's on the record. Formally, thank you, Giovanni.
Yeah, thank you.
Leave you with Henry Morse, our 1 car, who makes it to 2.
Certainly will do. Henry Morris, congrats on P2. I've heard from our race winner, Giovanni Romano, that you have bought the track just a few hours ago. Is that true?
I bought the track about halfway through practice. Yeah, about 25 minutes before qualifying.
Well, you are a quick study then, as you come on P2.
I've seen onboard before.
Okay. So you're familiar with the track. You didn't have to. You weren't learning from scratch. Per
Not
se.
totally from scratch. Yeah.
But talk me through it. The race strategy there. Did you have a specific plan with the pit strategy for the evening, other than just being consistent with how much you? Did you expect the throttle control being the big thing there?
Yeah, I knew this was, as they say, like riding a bull through a china shop. I mean, this is a tight track.
Mhm.
I moved. I ran the same setup as I did at Spa, which worked really well for me. I started with the same setup. I made the rear end about 5 steps shorter gear ratio, and I was still only about 2/3 of the way through fourth gear. I mean, this is a tight track.
Mhm.
Especially compared to Spa. Obviously, I mean any track is, but especially this one. And yeah, I ended up softening my shocks a bunch throughout practice, and actually not a bunch, but a couple clicks. And yeah, as far as fuel strategy, I don't know. I didn't do any sort of calculations before I ran the first stint, and I just kind of figured out after the first few laps what consumption was like. I was saving fuel in case maybe I thought, maybe we get a crazy late code 69, which happens sometimes, and I was thinking about
Mhm.
maybe making a one stopper. We had that first one that came at a time for sure where I was like, well, if I didn't pit during that, then there was like a really slim chance I could make it on a one stopper, or if I pit during then, which I'm sure everyone else is going to do, then it was going to be an easy one additional stop after that. It's like, okay, well that's the easy decision. And then for the second stop, it was coming up to just probably within 4 or so laps of that stop, and then we had that second code 69. So that was kind of a no-brainer on the pit
Mhm.
strategy from my perspective on this one.
Certainly. Then, as we get through the rest of this back half of the season, you're a big fan of the NASCAR trucks, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a higher oval I rating than sports car. I love these things, man. They're fun. They're simple. It's kind of my style. I'm like terrible in GT3 cars, but in
Mm.
vintage cars and stock cars where the drivers I feel like has to answer more questions behind the wheel.
Mhm.
I tend to shine in vehicles like this. So yeah, I felt comfortable. I feel like if we were in the V or in maybe a more modern car, I wouldn't have been as up to speed as
Mm.
quickly. But yeah, it's easy for me to find the limit and be comfortable with it in a vehicle like this.
Fantastic. One sidebar question: between Spa and Zolder, which Belgian track do you like more? This is a
Oh, that's
question
a
more
hard
more to
question.
answer for
Yeah,
Ellie than me, but
I
I'm curious.
think I think Spa is a better layout,
Mhm.
but I really don't like how like modern Formula One it is as far as like the runoff and everything.
Yeah.
Um, so I think Spa is a better layout, but I think Zolder is probably a better track. And also,
Mhm.
of course,
Right.
in real life versus sim, it's different because at Zolder you're kind of just facing like you're battling the track limits and the cut tracks, but in real life
Mhm.
you wouldn't be doing that. You'd just be driving to how hard you felt like abusing your car in the
Yeah.
corners. Um, so it's hard. It's hard to say because we have the experiences online are so dictated by the rules that are kind of made up by the limits. But
Yeah.
for these two tracks in particular, right? I mean, Spa is
Certainly.
all about driving to the line, and this track is all about driving to the cut track limits on the chicane.
Mhm.
But I think they have huge positives in very different areas, and this is a really fun track for in all the ways that Spa isn't. The tight
Mhm.
sections,
Mhm.
the walls are very close. Even some of the more flowing corners, it's really fun. You're dancing with the car a lot in the same way that you are at Spa. So I'd say they're pretty equal, honestly.
Heck yeah. So, all right. Well, we're gonna let you get back to your post race celebrations. Anything else we missed in our conversation this evening?
I just want to give a shout out to my family for watching, and this has been a great season. This silly season's awesome, and I'm excited for more next week and next season.
Heck yeah. We get one more race with the NASCAR trucks. So, but until then, we'll see you hopefully back here next week with the Pro 2's lights wherever we end up.
That is the plan. I should be able to make the races the rest of the season.
Heck yeah. Then we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you back here. Until then, I'll let you get back to celebrating. Thank you again. Congrats again on the PA2.
Have a good evening.
Alrighty. And that was Henry Morris, who came home second this evening.
Should make one more. Carl Blevins in P3. Kyle Blevins, I mean, that combo looked like hell to watch, and I wasn't driving the truck. So how did it feel?
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I've never drove that track before, or that truck, so it was definitely pretty hard to get used to.
Would you believe there are people that drive this truck on road courses and win races on it? How was your race out there on the track? It doesn't look like you moved much for your starting position, but really, I think everything happened to everyone.
Yeah, it was really just me trying to run away from Gio before he could catch me. 'Cause he was flying around through there, but I knew whenever he caught up to me, he would get around, and I just kind of tried to stay in and not die.
How much does the tire wear affect you on the race distance that you had here? People had varying strategies on quite when and how to change them and what to do with that. And really, it's not always a limiting factor on road racing, but I do know it can be here.
Yeah, I don't think the tires really like wore that much. More of like heat, like the tires would get heated up, and it would take like 4 laps to really cool them off. So just taking new tires wound up being better, just because of how cold they were.
They've created a league where I can't fill in with the generic question of if you're looking forward to next week's track. So instead, I'll ask, out of the 3 cars we've seen, which one really is your calling?
Oh, definitely the V. I have the most fun in the V, for sure.
Something about getting a slipstream running that thing that does feel very, very special. Anything else to point out before we wrap up the show?
No, I don't think so. I appreciate you guys.
Fun race for everyone involved, and you survived. Take it out with you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That wraps up the post-race. To thank all the drivers, of course, for coming to speak at the end of the show. And what a show. I was excited going in when I heard the combo, when I heard that we would indeed be doing the trucks. They are just as fun as promised. I need to go back and watch Spa because that stuff sounds terrifying. Any last thoughts, Sven?
It was a fantastic race, as always. The NASCAR trucks really seem to deliver such a unique blend of throttle control and really driver-focused racing, which I think makes for a fun one. We talked about with Henry Morse, but I think it's true of a lot of the drivers out there. So much driving done by drivers that it's, and a lot of very manual feeling. So it's very fun. I got to say that it's probably going to be the ones I look back on the most are the NASCAR races for this season and the Pro 2s, but that's just because I love the Pro 2s.
Pro 2s really are magic, so I do respect that a lot. Quite a big weekend coming up for the channel, as ever, if you like your own racing, because the FDR series is going to Barber Motorsports Park. I can imagine the terror on the commentators that have to actually work out the corners on that track before they go to commentate a long endurance race there. I just don't know it. Could be good, could be bad. Don't know. Can't help you. But there's plenty more in the other leagues as well, with the ZTRL Cup Series at Bristol Motor Speedway on Friday, and joining FTR as well, we have SRA at Michigan, where you get to see these trucks in their full glory, dare I say, in the High Tide Racing League. Taking up Watkins Glen. Ain't it a road racing weekend? Beer will be back, of course, and keep an eye out in the coming weeks for the GR86 Pace League as well. When NASCAR off on the off-season, we get plenty of great road races down the side. I'm Harry Burrows alongside Ben Acinni. Nolan has been sitting along in the side the whole time, but a mystery illness. I'm not even joking this time. Got to feel for him. Wish you the best for recovery, and wish you all have a great rest of your week and weekend. Have a good one.